Hey, welcome to Performance Anxiety. I'm your host, Mark, and before we jump into the show, I want to thank our sponsor, AKG, for sending us their Podcaster Essentials kit. I love the Lyra mic, and the headphones are incredibly comfortable. If you thought about doing your own podcast, this is the most affordable, highest quality way to do it. I'm joined by singer Kate Clark. She's an up-and-coming country music star, but she's not exactly new to singing. Prior to her move in Nashville to concentrate on her music, she lived in LA, trying to learn everything she could about the entertainment business. She wound up being a body double for Scarlett Johansson in Iron Man 2 and singing in the Pitch Perfect movies. And before that, she was a girl from Texas, driving around with her dad, bonding over country music. And those memories are the foundation of much of her work. Check out her singles No Halo, Last Names, and Summer, and follow her on social media at Kate Clark Music. Follow us at Performance ANX on Twitter and Instagram. And we are eternally grateful for the coffees you buy us at ko-fi.com/performanceanxiety. Merchandise is available at performanceanx.threadless.com. So buckle up for some sweet stories, great country music, and lots of laughs with Kate Clark on Performance Anxiety, part of the Pantheon Podcast Network.
Yeah, for sure. My management will kill me. Aye. Hey y'all, I'm Kate Clark on the Performance Anxiety Podcast. Be sure to check out my new single called Summer.
Hey!
Mark, how are you? This is so cool to be here.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're here with me. Okay. We're in the midst of finishing up making dinner here, so.
Oh, I love it. I just got my little one fed and these cartoons are on, so okay. We're all good.
And I'm getting interrupted at any time. My dog just fell down the stairs, so it's okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. What kind of dog? Is he okay?
Come here. Hammy, come here.
Babies and dogs. We're speaking my language.
All right, so I'm cleaning up. But at least I don't know if you can see him.
Oh, hi, babe. Oh,
he's my rescue. He's a half Australian Shepherd, half boxer.
Oh, so sweet. Rescues are the best.
Oh, yeah.
Another baby.
His name's Hammond, and he's a big goofball. He cracks me up. I mean, he walks around with it. His new thing is this walking around with this blanket. He's had this blanket for like 2 years, and all of a sudden he just decided now he's got to take it everywhere he goes.
Oh.
So that's why he fell down the stairs, because it's too big, because he steps on it. Yeah. He steps on it, his head takes a nosedive, and the rest of him follows him.
Oh, buddy.
He's dork.
Oh, man.
But he's
nothing a little treat can't fix.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, all right. So let's. I want to learn a little bit more about you, because in reading your bio and doing the research that I have, you've had quite an interesting career already. It's amazing.
It's pretty wild. Yeah.
So you started off. So you're from Austin.
That's right. Hook 'em horns.
Yeah. Oh, see, I got to tell you, Alabama fan. My brother graduated.
Okay. I mean, I have to say it. My family would kill me, but I've honestly never been to a game. I'm outing myself.
Oh.
But I have to say it. And my father who recently passed, he's passed about a year ago. The first gift for my son was a UT shirt. So it's in my blood. I have to say it. And I technically don't know anything other than that. So.
I'll leave it in, and I totally get it. My college didn't even have a football team. So when my brother went to Alabama, I kind of adopted the team. So
I love it.
I lived down there for a decade. So I met my wife, and all three of my kids were born down there. So.
Oh, sweet, so
sweet. Do have a little connection at least.
Good Southerner. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, my wife was born and raised down there. That's the only place she lived until we moved up to Virginia.
Wow. I have some family in Virginia as well, West Virginia and Virginia. Oh. And I'll just keep talking too, so you feel free. I'm a talker.
This is what the podcast is, so don't worry about it. It's just conversation. So yeah, I'm up in Winchester, so I'm like right on the border of West Virginia. So, home of Patsy Cline.
There you go.
Which I think I mention in every single podcast. So.
It's beautiful.
I should call this the Patsy Cline experience or something, because it's just anyway. So we're talking about Austin. You grew up there. When did you start really singing? I mean, was that something that you've always done, or is it something that you were encouraged to do?
Yeah, so I think I was always singing. I was the loudmouth of the bunch. I'm the middle child. I'm the one that just feels like they have to be heard and they're never heard. I know you've got three, so I'm not going to say anything.
No, I know what I know what it's like.
Yes. And my dad, we'd always listen to music in the car, and it was just such a connectivity thing for us. And I didn't really start pursuing music or singing seriously until I moved to LA. But my love for music was from forever. I used to pretend to be the radio. I have this crazy game where I'd make my family turn on a classical radio station and create lyrics in music to the classical songs.
Oh, that's great.
I've just always loved music, any music, all kinds of music. I used to spend my allowance on, very odd because I don't play piano and I wish that I did. Well, yes. Classical piano CDs and records, any kind of records I could get my hands on. There's a great shop in Austin if you ever go. Oh gosh, I don't even know if they're still around. I'll have to get the name. Okay. And I'll email you. Yeah. Super amazing record shop. I've just always found myself drawn to music. I love also impersonating different sounds and musicians and singers. Anything with noise, lots of noise. I'm there.
So, but when you were growing up, now your parents split when you were a kid, right? And that was so. I was reading that music is one way that you really found a way to connect with your dad because you lived with your mom most of the time. Yeah.
It was important. It was when I would see him, he loved country music. I mean, to the point where he'd hear a song and he'd just start crying. And I very much like my father in that sense that he's just this open heart, big teddy bear. He can just really feel things and feel lyrics. And I thought, oh my gosh, well, I think I might be a little more like my dad. I love my mom to death, but I just have so much in common with my dad. And I don't have much of a twang anymore, I don't think. I don't know. Well, when I was in LA, everyone said, yeah, you have a twang. But my dad, I've talked like my dad. We actually cut a song together a few years before he passed. We covered Remember When. Such a good song.
What were you listening to? So you were listening to a lot of country music when you were driving around and bonding with your dad. Did that go through the rest of your entire life, or were you listening to a lot of pop, or was it a big mix of stuff?
No, I honestly, I listen to everything. I mean, from your Loretta Lynn, Patsy Cline, to your Lone Star, to, obviously Garth Brooks. We could go even more current to the Martinas and the Faith Hills. Country obviously just it's just who I am. It's how I was raised. Yeah. It's the most natural fit, but I adore all kinds of music, even the hardcore rap. Like I said, if there's rhythm and sound or, it's that human expression that I'm just like, oh my gosh, you could think good, bad, not recorded professionally. There's just something I think that's so special to someone just sharing their art in whatever capacity, whatever form that is or looks like. So I love all kinds of music, but definitely country's number one.
You ended up going to a performing arts high school?
Yeah, so I went to McCallum and Fine Arts Academy. Okay. I'm going to mess that up. Hi, McCallum alumni. Clearly, I need some more schooling. Sang in the choir there. It was one of those kind of programs that you had to audition to get into. Love that. Even choral music. I love choral music. I still know some to this day.
Oh, wow. Man. So when you went there, was it for singing or was it for acting? Because I know that you were kind of torn in that direction as well. Right.
So at that time, it was just for music. I had auditioned for a few musicals, which I actually didn't get. And I also didn't make the cheerleading squad either. So
you should have gone with marching band.
I know, yes. I probably wouldn't have made that either. I don't know. It's weird juju. I don't know.
Yeah. It's what makes your songwriting so real? All that, the rejection.
Yes, thank you. There's so much beauty in that as well. If you can just learn to take it as a compliment, maybe, whatever.
Exactly. It's something to learn from.
For sure. Exactly. For sure.
So after high school, is that when you moved out to LA?
That is. I tried to move out there before graduating high school. Like I said, middle child, wild child.
Yeah.
And ended up having to come back and wait. I did not attend my graduation. I got that after coming back from LA. At that time, I was kind of torn in between acting and music and what do I want to do? I'm an atrocious actress, so that was an easy thing for me to figure out. I mean, yeah, I was stellar in my Pizza Hut commercial. So other than that,
excellent. Well,
so yes, LA was a little more acting, and in those years spent in LA, I had this kind of awakening at a Stagecoach festival. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I absolutely love music. I'm creating music. I'm writing in LA, but my home and my heart is in country music. And it's time to pack up and head to Nashville. And I'm so glad that I did. Best choice.
You did have some success, though, because you got to see some interesting work out there in Iron Man 2.
Yes.
So
that too. So
you ended up, because honestly, I can't imagine it's easy to be a body double for Scarlett Johansson.
You know what? It was very bizarre how that happened. I got a call one morning. I went to LA and I did everything from background work to PAing to wrapping cable to pushing trash cans.
Wow.
Anything just to kind of learn about this creative process that I was so drawn to.
Right.
And I'm losing my place. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you. So we'll get started. I'll hit record any moment now.
Yes. So it was a random thing. I got called. They said, hey, can you show up? We're working on the sound stages in Manhattan Beach, Raleigh Studios. Okay. And I said, well, do you have any other information? Just go. Okay. Am I singing? Am I doubling? Am I actually acting? Because you don't want me to do that. What am I doing? So
maybe they did like your Pizza Hut commercial.
I guess. I get there and they're all, of course, all these beautiful people. And I'm very much kind of a beach bum, out in the fields kind of girl. I could care less. Right. And they're just made up to the nines, and I'm in my typical sweats and a tank top. Yeah, whatever. Kate's here. And they all have red hair, and I'm going, I don't think I'm at the right place. And in comes Scarlett Johansson with a red wig on, and they brought me in front of the camera. They said, here, say this, walk, run, jump, how high, of course, right. Whatever. And they sent all the other girls with red hair home. And it was like the quickest casting thing I'd ever been a part of.
Wow.
Aside from a few dirty looks as they're walking, I had no idea what I was doing,
right.
But I guess I resembled her enough, and the same, stats, height, weight, whatever.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
It wasn't too difficult, but when the Prada dresses started coming out, I'm going, I don't know if I could do this.
Oh my gosh.
But it was fun. It was such a great experience. I also love camera lighting. So to work with some of those incredible DPs and just to watch it all come together that was just invaluable experience.
So after being a double for Scarlett Johansson in Iron Man 2, you ended up actually getting, was it vocal parts in Pitch Perfect and Pitch Perfect 2, right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, so how did that happen? Because I love those movies. I'm not a big musical person. I don't like music, but friends of my wife and I said, watch this movie, Pitch Perfect. It's hilarious. You'll actually enjoy it. So I said, okay. All right.
Oh my gosh. Yes. The writing in it is incredible. And a lot of that's just ad-libbing with Rebel and Adam. They're insane. They're just so talented. And the people working on the music are just as talented. And that actually happened. I was a part of the music department, again, setting up microphones, wrapping cables, whatever I can do to just be a part.
Right.
And it turned out on the first one, you know, you hire actresses and most of them could sing. They're phenomenal singers.
Mm-hmm.
And, but there's, as you know, there are a lot of parts in that movie, a lot of, just a lot of singing.
Yeah.
And they decided that the actors should sing their main lines and then maybe have some singers who can come in and just get it done really fast, sing everything else. And, of course, little Kate in the back, pick me. And so I ended up singing for a couple of the producers and they're, okay, go ahead. So,
wow.
Yeah, I kind of lucked into it, but I also had perfected my role at being a fly on the wall, that I knew when to step up and take a chance. And again, I'm glad that I did.
That's awesome. And then you mentioned, was it Stagecoach? So what happened there to make you want to leave LA? And did you have anything lined up when you went to Nashville?
You know, I had nothing lined up other than years of growing up, knowing that I loved Nashville. I wanted to be in Nashville, but I had already kind of stumbled upon this thing that was working in LA, and I had great work and great gigs, and that's hard to build up. So it was also hard to leave in a sense. But Stagecoach was just one of those moments. I'm there with my girlfriends. I'm listening to incredible music. And what got me was they just kept stage hopping. And I'm going, you're literally leaving in the middle of a Dwight Yoakam set. Do you not realize what we're watching?
Wow.
And for me, it was like, okay, I'm done. My love of music and this relentless urge to go do what I want to do and not what's good for a movie or for a film, or drop the twang, or maybe not say it like that. That's too country. I was like, I've had enough. I want to do what they're doing. And I want to try my hand at doing it full time. You know, no more acting, no more of this.
Wow.
Let's just jump in. Let's dive in.
That takes courage.
In a matter of 2 weeks, I was out. And in fact, I didn't even tell the girls that I was at Stagecoach with that I was leaving. I just left. I had had enough.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. So you didn't have any, did you have a plan, a place to stay or anything? I can't even imagine just. Oh,
you know, what was bizarre is I was working with an engineer at the time who had done a Dave Pensato one of his podcasts or shows that he does.
Okay, yeah.
And he said, well, if you do country music, you should meet my friend David Huff. And I'm going, yeah, okay, whatever. Everyone knows somebody. Yeah, at this point, I'm so Hollywood jaded. If you drop a name in front of me, I'm out.
Right.
So I ended up taking that meeting. And it was after that meeting, I went back to Texas because I knew I was done with LA. I'd already packed up my stuff. I actually got rid of most of it.
Oh, wow.
And my parents are in Texas. So I went to Texas after the meeting with David. And the meetings had gone great. Yes, let's record a record. But obviously, these things are very expensive and take time.
Right.
And at that point, you know, I was still in the midst of honing in on writing and what do I want to say. And, you know, I made this very strong decision that I no longer wanted to communicate for other people. I would like to communicate for myself and say what I want to say and what fits me and what am I comfortable with.
Right, yeah.
And again, too much peroxide. Where are we?
Well, we were just kind of talking about how you got from LA to Nashville. So, but you brought up a couple things I definitely wanted to ask you about. When did you start writing your own material? I mean, is it something that's just recent when you made the move?
I started writing actually in LA with a few other writers. And so I started writing in LA, but it's one of those things where if you're not doing it every day, or I feel like Nashville is just the place to really immerse yourself in this, like, just this incredible songwriting. Not quite sure how to explain it, but I had been writing for a while.
Okay.
But I hadn't been writing in an environment where I could say and do and feel everything I needed to say. And I don't think I could have until I, as a person and being, felt a little more settled. And so it wasn't until being in Nashville and kind of getting my feet on the ground and feeling a little more secure in life that I was able to take the time and write. And I was actually being paid as a writer from a company actually in Europe. So that really helped that transition go a little smoother than it probably could have gone. I was very fortunate in that sense where I could take every day and research songs and writers and just start and day in and day out, right. And
that's awesome.
I got a lot of flack for not playing out, like, oh, you're here, and how many shows have you done? I'm going, well, wait a second, I'm not, I'd like to stand on stage and love what I'm singing, and so I took a lot of time to just write, and I still to this day I love writing. I'll never not be writing.
Oh, that's awesome. So that was my next question was, were you performing out at all while you're in LA?
Yeah, so I performed out, not too much, as the venues are a little different there. Yes, so there was definitely some performing.
Okay.
A lot of more acting though, unfortunately. So yes, but it wasn't until Nashville that I'm like, okay, let's write, then we can get on stage.
Okay. So how long have you been in Nashville at this point now?
So it's been probably almost 4.5 years, maybe going on 5. It's been a while.
Wow, that's awesome. You started releasing songs earlier this year. So have you been releasing stuff or have been recording things this entire time from the time you got to Nashville to, because the first song that I've seen is No Halo, which was, that was released earlier this year, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Guess even the brightest angels can get a little confused and lose their wings, lose their halo, forget their dreams, lose a little hope. It ain't easy, nothing's ever fair. You, me, and God know you can still be good with no halo.
so what, were you writing this entire time or writing for other people?
So I was writing this entire time.
Okay.
If there was one thing I learned from LA, it was just be ready, have material, don't just have one song. So I have a ton of songs, and it wasn't until signing with this new management and this distribution deal that I kind of opened the vault, and they're going, wait a second, we can release for the next 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
or and kind of build things up in an organic way. And so definitely these songs were kind of already there, if you will, just lying around in the vault. And when I say I came to Nashville, I didn't have any friends, nobody. It was like a car, an empty apartment, and a fridge with potatoes.
Wow.
Like it,
Wow.
and it was just writing. And so that's been a great thing, because now with this new team, it's just fun to go in and kind of piece the releases together. Clearly, they know a little more than I do on what would best work. So I just go yes, or no. I don't love that song. No. But it's been fun. Yeah.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. So No Halo was the first release, the first single, and it sounds like there's definitely a story behind that song. Or is there one that you can can you explain it a little bit? And do you do a lot of autobiographical writing? It was a lot of storytelling.
I'd say it's maybe a 50-50 both.
Okay.
I mean, and truly in the day, it's just whatever side of the bed I wake up on, or what's pressing, what point, what do I need on my chest? So No Halo, if I were to say I carried any kind of chip on my shoulder, it would be like just feeling that pressure that most women feel to be perfect all the time, to say the right answer to, if a producer comes up to you on set, you should smile. So I had just had enough, and I decided to write about it, but in a positive way, to just remind girls at all ages. And in fact, I wanted to keep those. I was nervous to release it because the lyrics are so simple, if you will, ABC 1, 2, 3, but I wanted girls as young as 5 to really sit down and understand, oh, wow, I'm still an okay human being.
Yeah.
If there isn't this ring of light always cast over me,
Right. Yeah. You don't have to be perfect. The rest of the world isn't Hollywood. It's not LA. So you're not going to be perfect. So you don't have to worry about that. Right.
And I was like, if 10-year-old Kate would have heard that song, I think it would have made somewhat of an impact, going like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, 10-year-old Mark had heard that. I'm not even a girl. See, I'm the kind of, and I always have been, the kind of person who I feel like if I try something new, I should already know how to do it. And that's been my biggest struggle with just about everything I've done. If I screwing up something I don't know how to do, I feel like I should already know how to do whatever it is I'm trying for the first time.
Right.
Ridiculous.
I think we both struggle from that same illness.
I feel ridiculous when I admit that, but it's that was one of my biggest problems.
Hey, you've admitted it, and you're now on your journey to recovery, Mark.
My name is Mark, and I'm a recovering perfectionist.
And you're on performance anxiety.
Yes. You've got an interesting release dynamic that you're doing. You're doing an original and then a cover. And No Halo wasn't actually the first song that I heard from you. It was Wonderwall.
Ah.
And I'm going to be completely transparent right now. Country is not a genre I'm really familiar with. I like what I like, and I don't know a whole lot of it, I guess I should say, which is one of the reasons why I love doing this podcast, is because I get to learn about new genres and things that I maybe haven't explored in the past to my own detriment. But I do love Oasis. So when I heard Wonderwall, I knew you were a country artist, but I heard Wonderwall and I'm like, this doesn't sound completely country. This is... You slowed it down. It's got some country elements to it, but it's not your standard country cover.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. And I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your
How did you pick Wonderwall? And I don't even know the next question. I guess how did you come up with that really awesome arrangement?
So Wonderwall happened. I tend to be kind of a night owl, and whether it's writing or researching things, I'm just always going. And Wonderwall, of all things, maybe, I don't know if it was a documentary, something flashed over the TV and I heard Wonderwall and I'm thinking, I've heard this song before. I love this song.
Yeah.
And it wasn't 5 seconds later, I was like, I'm covering this song.
Oh,
like,
wow.
This is happening. And I talked to David and I said, hey, I know this isn't country, but just roll with me. I said, we can put fiddle, we can throw some mandolin on top. But I in that moment, it was like, I need to be down in the bayou, in the swamp, in this Wonderwall. For me, I call it Wonderwall. I've got a cover of Hurt. I did kind of a play on Johnny Cash's version.
Oh, cool.
Those songs to me, I call my journey songs, where you just put them on, you put your headphones on, the babies are in bed, you've got the glass of wine, and you just take a journey. Yeah. And you just go somewhere.
I could definitely hear that with Wonderwall.
Right. So so for me, it was like Wonderwall was a no-brainer. And I had just watched the, oh no, I'm going to forget his name. Like literally the most iconic producer of all time. Anyways, I just watched a show and he had said a quote. Art should have no lanes. I'm butchering this horribly, but something along those lines. And that really stood out for me. And as much as I love country, I just love music, period.
Right.
And if it speaks to me, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sing it. I'm going to, whatever it is. So that was Wonderwall. And the arrangement was very much David Huff sitting down and just creating this. I had given him a picture, if you will, a story. I said, the bayou, the swamp, let's just drop it back. Let's, I tend to lean towards the darker side of things and just to vibe out. Okay. And he was able to really put that picture into instruments, and he crushed it. For sure.
So, it's really a unique arrangement of the song, and it really puts that whole song into a different perspective. So it's one of my favorites. I love that.
Thank you.
So how else do you pick some of the covers? Because I've heard some, and I've heard of a couple that haven't come out yet. So hopefully I'm not getting anybody in trouble when I mention a few of them. But you did "Happy" by Pharrell. That was really cool. I like that because that is more of a country take.
Yeah.
Go to space with the air like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm alone if you feel like happiness is true. Because I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you.
You did "Toxic" by Britney Spears, which I am not real familiar with Britney Spears, but I liked your version of it.
With a taste of your lips, I'm on the ride. You're toxic, I'm slipping up. With a taste of a poison paradise, I'm addicted to you. Don't you know that you're toxic?
Thank you.
And then "Drink You Away" by Justin Timberlake, which I have not heard yet, and "Black Water" by the Doobie Brothers, which is one of my favorite Doobie Brothers songs.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'll make this happen, and I'll get you some of those songs. They're actually some of my favorites, and I cannot wait for them to be released.
Oh, awesome.
So I will send you those.
Okay, but I promised that I won't put them in the podcast because I know that this podcast is coming out much sooner than those songs are supposed to be released. So I promised I promised your manager I would not. She's like, "Oh, I can't send you those yet because they're not coming out yet." So I'm going to be upfront about that. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. And that's going to get edited out of the podcast too. So.
Okay, yes, and edit out all my flubbering and blubbering too.
So how do you pick some of these songs? I mean, is there meaning or behind them? Is there a memory with them, or is it just a song you like?
So I, towards the end of the day, will always kind of turn on music or a Spotify playlist. And a lot of these, I hate to even say it because there should be a better story behind these song choices, but a lot of these songs just come on, and for whatever reason, there's just this moment where I'm going, I'll either get goosebumps or it's just a feeling, and I'm going, man, I really resonate with that, or man, today that's really helping me get over whatever it is I'm dealing with, and I should just go sing it.
Well, that's fair. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big story. It's just, it makes you feel something.
Well, for Blackwater, my stepdad loves the Doobie Brothers. And every summer we get in the car and travel from Austin, Texas to Virginia, West Virginia, New Jersey, Florida, and back.
Well, you're hitting where all my family is.
Really?
Yeah, Virginia. I've got family in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, some down in Alabama. I've got some cousins down in Florida, so
we may be related.
Maybe. It's quite possible. Florida is a little strange.
It's all a little strange up there.
Yeah, New Jersey's a lot strange. I'll tell you that.
But yeah, for Blackwater, that song was played ad nauseum on repeat in those car trips. And at the time, I was like, okay, yeah, I've had enough. And I'm somebody who can repeat and be fine with it, but I had enough. And in my adulthood, hearing it was probably the first time I had heard it since being on one of those car trips. Oh, and wow. It was just such a nostalgic thing that I'm going, okay, I got to get this out of my system and make it a positive, and my stepdad will love me for it. So that happened.
I know that feeling. I was driving around with my wife, and same thing, a song will come on and I'm like, I'll leave it on. But when I was a kid, I hated this song, and I don't know if I leave it on for the nostalgia or maybe my tastes have changed and I like it, but I can't tell.
Yeah.
All right. So I've been enjoying the covers, but Last Names, that song's pretty damn powerful. That is one hell of a finely written song. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Can you, and I know that it's got a connection with your dad. Can you kind of explain a little bit about the connection and what made you write that song?
Oh, yeah. Last Names. It still gets me just thinking about it.
And if it's too much, I mean, we don't have to go.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It is probably one of my most personal songs written to date or shared to date. Right. I went into a co-write with Devin Malone and Katie Malone. They're phenomenal writers. Devin is a phenomenal guitar player here in town. Katie also produces. They're just like this wonder couple, just power couple. They're incredible. And I had this idea that I'd kind of been holding on to for a while. I had this line, some of us get last names that don't mean anything.
Mama, I know why now. You cried on the back porch when the lights went out. Then I couldn't see, I can see why now. There's pictures all around in this dusty house, and Daddy isn't in any frames. Some of us get last names that don't mean nothing.
I'd come to Nashville. I'm working with David Huff, and there's such a lineage and legacy to the name Huff.
Yeah.
And it just clicked in my mind, like, it's bizarre but beautiful to see that and see that it exists. But for the other half of the world that aren't as blessed with something like that, it just felt fitting to write about it. And so I had that line, some of us get last names that don't mean anything. And they loved it. They said, okay, we're going to do this. Let's write this. Wow. And every line is something real that happened in my life. And it was a little scary to share, but I'm so happy I did. And it's just such a sweet, beautiful song that hits hard, but I still call it sweet.
It's very, you can feel your actual connection in the performance. So it's so successfully written and performed, which doesn't happen all the time. You can get a very well written song that maybe doesn't get performed as well, but you pulled the entire thing off, and it's a song that touches me. So
oh man, thank you so much. That's the highest form compliment that you can give an artist, that you can give a writer. So that, thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing it, because I can't even imagine how difficult, first of all, writing that song is, then recording it, and then sharing it with the world. That has to be very difficult.
Well, there were definitely a few takes at the microphone where I'm going, okay, time out, time out. Because at the end of the day, when we were in that writing session, the inverse of not having a father who is there is you have this strong mom, hopefully. And in my case, I had this amazing, strong mother. And so I'm at the microphone and it was just like, wow, I owe this woman a great deal of thank yous. Wow. And hopefully this song will start checking some of those thank yous off the list. Yeah. It wasn't too difficult to sing, but it just when a story is so real to you in your life, it took a few takes.
I can only imagine. And you've got a new single coming out, Summer. So I just heard that for the first time about an hour ago.
Okay.
That sounds so nice. It's happier.
Summary?
Yeah, very summery. Very aptly titled and the release is perfect. I mean, man, you guys are doing your homework.
Look, I can't take any credit for it.
Well, I really enjoyed that song. It's quite different from Last Names. So,
oh yeah. Well, a funny thing that happens on a lot of our team meetings is, Kate, I'm gonna write something upbeat and happy. And I'm a very upbeat and happy person, but when it comes to music, I always lean towards the darker things. So that's how Summer was born. And it was another conversation with David going, look, we got to get some happy, upbeat songs in this mix. And so we kind of came up with that song together and we wrote it together. And it feels good to have a fun, upbeat song.
You need one for the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also love summer. I'm a summer baby. I'm a water baby. I played beach volleyball almost every day that I wasn't working in California.
Oh, that's awesome.
The line about, on the edge of town, just ready for that feeling. That's me sitting on Washington Boulevard, trying to get to the pier and get a good parking spot and get my butt on the beach, that feeling. So it's fun to have that encapsulated in a song now, because I can just play the song and be right back there on the beach.
Oh, that's awesome. So how many songs do you have recorded? Because I know this past year has really kind of turned the entire industry on its head as to how things get recorded and released. Are you recording a song and releasing it, or do you have a backlog of things that are recorded and you're just releasing them as the time is right?
So like we talked about earlier, I have a backlog of music, but during the pandemic, that's when a lot of these kind of cover ideas were born and a lot of these original songs as well. But I actually record all of my own music, my own vocals. Wow. I run Pro Tools, just like I said, I was soaking everything up. How can I do this?
Back out in LA, right?
Waiting on other people's schedules. When you have an idea, you want to get it out pretty quick. At least that's how I operate.
Yeah.
So I'm able to just go step at my microphone and turn on Pro Tools and plug in and go.
Awesome. So. That is fantastic. So are there going to be a string of singles, or are we going to be able to have a full-length entire album out at some point?
So for now, as we kind of do this organic build, if you will, it's just going to be singles.
Okay.
Now we could release an EP or an album, but I'm listening to the pros and I agree with them 100% that let's just kind of sprinkle in, hi, I'm Kate. Here's what I do. Here's how I feel about music. And here's what my music sounds like. And just kind of build organically.
Well, it's a perfect time to take that route because, touring hasn't been able to happen for a year. So you can't really support an album with a tour.
No.
And even if things open up tomorrow, you can't just go right out and start performing. So it's this, right. I think you're right. I think doing singles is probably a great way to get the exposure that you want.
Right. Yeah. And especially for a new artist, we're not, I'm not currently opening up for anyone. I don't need, 10, 20 songs set. So the singles is where it's at for now.
That's wonderful. I've kept you for quite a while. I wanted to thank you. This has been awesome. It's been a blast talking with you and getting to know you. And
Same. Thank you. This was fun. I was looking forward to this. I found out in Florida, and I was like, I had heard about your show.
Really?
So I was just like, oh, okay. Actually, do you have an Instagram?
Yes.
Maybe it's Instagram.
It's at Performance ANX.
Yes.
And that's all it is. So I will, what is, all right. So what's your, I think it's on the website, right? Which is KateClarkMusic.com, and Twitter and Instagram are both Kate Clark Music.
Yes. It's all there.
Sometimes I forget to follow people until I actually talk to them, and then I immediately, when we're done, I go back and I follow. So, but
look, I won't hold it against you. And honestly, I'm the worst at social media, which is a bad thing because apparently you have to be really good at it these days. So luckily, I have really great people who help me along the way.
Another hard week's work is done, and I'm done too. Yeah, let's say goodbye.